Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you something truly amazing. It's called the Babson task. It was suggested by one of the viewers and I'm just so happy to share it with you because it's probably the best puzzle sequence I've ever seen. So the whole idea of the Babson task is that it's white to play in this position and white has to make one move that leads to mate in 4, one key move to kick off the variation. And after that key move, there's a specific condition that has to be met. Namely, if black promotes their pawn to anything, let's say a rook, a queen, a bishop, or a knight, white has to mirror that promotion and mate in the same number of moves. So that may sound crazy to you, but just hear me out. It's going to be worth it, I promise. It's amazing. Okay. So I'll explain that more in just a moment, but take a look at this position. There's only one move in this position that forces mate in 4. There are a bunch of other mates out there, but the goal is to be as precise as possible, 4-move mate. So the first move is a7, and I think you'll see how this works after this first variation. So let's say black wants to defend by capturing this rook and becoming a queen. So part of the Babson task is if they promote to a queen, you have to mirror their promotion and also become a queen, right? So you don't want to take their queen. That's not part of the Babson task. It is instead promote to a queen on your own. Okay, so in this variation, it has to be mate in 2 from here because remember that initial position is mate in 4. No matter what black does, it's going to be mate on the next move. So let's say, for example, however you want to defend, maybe queen takes, let's see, queen takes f5 is the computer suggestion. That's fine. After rook takes a4, you're forced to trade with me. Either go here or take. In both cases, it's going to be mate. So that would be checkmate, right? That's just one example. That's one variation after I promote to a queen. There are a couple other ones. So I just showed queen takes f5. Maybe you think something different. Maybe, let's see, queen takes b2. Trying to get out of this line of fire from the knight if the knight were to move. Well, that doesn't exactly do it because the killer move here is actually queen takes b3. Look at this move because the queen is pinned. And if the queen takes here, look at this checkmate. Boom. Okay, so I know I'm going a little fast here. There are many variations, and it's amazing because all of them result in mate in 4 from that first position, and after the promotion, just a mate in 2. So if you want to look at other variations, feel free. I'll have the position in the description. There are plenty of ones to look at. You can go queen e4, trying to block. That's not going to lead to a faster resistance. It's always going to be 2 moves. So in this case, this is the only sequence. Okay, so you can see how it works. So part of this Babson task, like I said, is that you have to be able to mirror their promotion. So let's show that. So I just showed what happens when they promote to a queen, just as an example. Now, and this is what's so incredible, let's say they promote to a rook. So part of the Babson task is, can I promote to a rook and deliver mate in exactly the same number of moves? And the answer is yes. And this was a puzzle that people thought were impossible. It was an impossible task. I promote to a rook. Now, how does that work? Well, if I promote to a rook, pretty much their only move, they have a few moves, but let's say they want to take on b2. Let's just show one line. Don't take here. That's not the fastest mate. Instead, rook takes b3 is the fastest mate because, again, this is pinned. Amazing, right? And after rook takes, let's see, what can we do? We can't move the rook. What can I do? I can move the king. King takes c4. Queen a4 is mate. Look at that. So that's mate in 2 after I promote to a rook. So, okay, that's cool. So what about, there's so many variations, like I already said. Instead of taking here, what about another move? Any other move you have in mind? Let's see. Maybe I move the rook away. Maybe I take the queen. Let's take the queen. Why not? In that case, you have a rook mate. You have rook takes. You have the same thing as well. Rook here with this mate to follow. And there's not much you can do about it. Okay. So I just showed the rook. So now remember, you have to mirror them. And an important note, if they promote to a rook, promoting to a queen does not work. That's what's incredible about this. This does not work. After rook takes b2, this same line here doesn't work anymore. Why not? Well, what does black do in this position? This is stalemate. This is pinned, just like it was a moment ago. But this bishop's also pinned. And what does that mean? That means black can't move. That's stalemate. That's the definition of stalemate, right? Nothing can move, and it's their turn. So, you have to promote to a rook in order to win that game in the same fashion. Okay, it gets crazier. It gets more amazing if it wasn't already amazing. So, promoting to a queen, we already showed that. Promoting to a rook, we already showed that. What if they promote to a knight? So the Babson task says, hey, if you promote to a knight, I have to also promote to a knight, and I have to checkmate in the same number of moves. It has to be mate in 4 from the start position no matter what. So I promote to a knight to match their promotion. And again, this is the only way to mate in 3 moves from that position. So it's just amazing. So let's just say you play as black. What do you play? You have a couple of legal moves. You have 3 legal moves if I can count. So let's say I play knight takes, just for sure. Why not? So queen c1 is the right move in this position. And the next move probably is going to be either knight jump or rook takes. So what do you do as black? How do you defend against all these? Any knight move that's not to e4 will result in rook takes bishop mate. So if you go here, that's going to be rook takes, and that's mate. So if you go here instead, well, that just blocked the square. Knight c6 is now mate. This is amazing. Look at how I'm mirroring them, and I'm still delivering mate in the same number of moves. I don't know if this is something that has ever been seen before. I'm so glad that one of the viewers suggested it. Okay, so instead of queen, instead of rook, and instead of bishop, let's try, I said bishop. Let's try bishop. We tried knight first. So in this position, like I said, only the bishop mates the fastest. So the computer's telling me that the knight mates in 4, the queen mates in 4, and the rook mates in 4. But the only move that promotes and mates in 3 is the bishop. So I'm mirroring them again. Just how does this make any sense? This is so amazing. So right now, this bishop is pinned, and black has a few moves. They can move, let me see if I can draw the arrows. They can move here, there, all these squares on the diagonal, including taking the pawn. And they're all going to be roughly the same. So if you go to any of these squares, I just take the bishop, right, like this. Check, and this bishop here is supporting me, so that's going to be mate, right? So the bishop promotion doesn't work, and if you interpose, doesn't actually stop me. Bishop takes f4 now. Look at this. Bishop takes f4, because if it was rook takes, that would be stalemate. So then the bishop has to move, and whenever the bishop moves, let's say here, it doesn't matter. This is double check. Look at this. Double check mate. Okay, so after this key move of a7, which is a thematic move to promote the pawn, every single promotion that black makes, you can mirror to win. This is probably the most incredible puzzle I've ever seen. And I've seen many, many, many puzzles. I sat here just looking at this puzzle for like an hour. So, no matter what they do, queen, rook, bishop, knight, you promote and win. Well, you might say, wait a second, Frank, wait a second. What if they don't engage with this promotion? Do they have any other defense? Maybe they have some other defense. And I would say, great question. That's calculated in the Babson task as well. It can't be just promotions. So let's just say you're thinking about that, and I would say, wonderful question. What do you do? Maybe you move this queen somewhere. Maybe you say, hey, I see my queen's attacked, and I'm going to try to prevent this checkmate. Maybe I'll go here. I don't know. You can pick lots of places. Well, that doesn't really work because I can just take this, and that would be checkmate. So it doesn't work. So not here. In any other place, it looks like I can just take the queen directly. Here, like that, like that. What about taking the pawn, you might wonder? Well, that gets you away from this diagonal, right? And that would be checkmate. So you have to stay on the diagonal. Okay, maybe here. Does that prevent anything? Yeah, well, it doesn't prevent the mate in 1, but remember, the goal was mate in 4. Rook e1 in this position. What am I threatening? I'm threatening rook here. I don't even take your queen. This is just amazing. Queen d5, the computer's saying, is the best resistance. Rook takes f5, and what do you do now? That's checkmate. This knight is holding this. Look at that. So, this puzzle is absolutely stunning. No matter what black does, there's a mate in 4. No matter how they promote, I can mirror your promotion, right? You have a weapon. The weapon is 4 different types of pieces. The pawn promotes to a queen, a rook, a bishop, or a knight. No matter what you do, I mirror it, and I still win in 3 moves from that position. This is probably the nicest puzzle ever. Please leave me your feedback. I thought this was absolutely incredible. I want to look at more of these Babson task videos or puzzles. They're just fantastic. But leave me some feedback. Let me know if you enjoy it, if you see the complexity and how much it's just amazing. Let me know. I'm sure there are many variations I did not cover. I will have the position in the description, so feel free to mess around with it. It is truly a masterpiece. So thank you to the viewer who subscribed and who suggested this puzzle. I really appreciate it. Feel free to drop more suggestions. I love hearing from the community, and you guys are awesome. So the more suggestions, the better. But that's it for right now. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to subscribe. Thanks. Bye.